Welcome to this tutorial for finding percentages of a number. To really get the most out of this, you need to know a lot about your times tables, you need to know all of your facts, and also be able to multiply and divide by 10 and 100. So, if you've got all that and you're ready to go, let's go. Finding 10% of a number is as easy as dividing by 10, which means that you would move your digits once to the right. So, to find 10% of 30, I would divide it by 10, and I would be left with 3. If I was to find 10% of 50, I would again divide it by 10, and I would have 5. And 10% of 180 would be 18. And if I was to find 10% of 17, I would divide that again by 10, and I would have 1.7, moving the digits once to the right beyond the decimal point. Once you've grasped how to find 10%, you can use that 10% to find other multiples of 10 for percentages. So to find 20%, I would just find 10% by dividing by 10 and then multiplying that by 2. And to find 30%, I would take 10% and multiply it by 3. To find 40%, take my 10% and multiply it by 4, and so on. 50% is multiplied by 5, although you should know that 50% of a number is half, and you could just half that number instead. So I could find 60%, 70%, 80% and 90%. Of course, there's 100% already there, but I could also find 110% and 120% just by finding 10%. It should be quite easy to figure out then that 10% of 60 is 6. And with that 6 I can find other percentages. So 20% of 6 would be 12. And 30% would be 18. 40% would be 24. And really you can start to see how your times tables works here. But being able to find 10% and multiply it by 2 for 20%, multiply it by 3 for 30%, and multiply it by 4 for 40% is a really easy way of finding many different percentages, and I hope this helps you. If you understand the tutorial, you can pause this video now and have a go at answering the questions to the left of this screen. If you pause it, write the answers down, and then in a few seconds this video will show you the answers. But don't go writing the answers from the video without having had a go first. Try your best. So, for the first 4 questions, you just need to divide by 10 to find your answer. So, 10% of 40 is 4. Of 90, it's 9. Of 170, it is 17. Of 13, the trickier one, is 1.3. And then you move on to slightly trickier questions where you find your 10% and then multiply it to find other multiples of 10 for a percentage. So, 20% of 40, well 10% is 4, so 20% would be 8. 30% of 70, well 10% is 7, and use my 7 times tables. 7 multiplied by 3 would give me 21. 40% of 12, well 10%, I'll just write over here, of 12 is 1.2, and I would multiply that by 4, so 1.2, 2.4, 3.6, 4.8, you can use your 12 times tables. And 60% of 9, well 10% of that would be 0.9. 9 times 6 is 54, so 0.9 times 6 would be 5.4. That is the end of the video. Well done if you've got all of those questions right. If not, have a look at the video again and see where you went wrong, or come and ask me for help. You can do more practice of this by getting the sheet that's linked with the video. Hopefully I will have shown you how to get to those, but well done, and we'll see you again.